You're listening to Throwback Thursdays with myself, Nikki, Clarke, and the amazing Keypad. You just listened to a song by Arrested Development.
That's
and
right.
now we have on the line a talented actor and author. Please welcome Michael Amos to the show.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello, Keith.
Hello. How you doing, Michael? Honored to
I'm
have
good.
you. Red carpet entrance for you, Michael. Red carpet entrance.
Thank you much.
No doubt.
Yeah, Michael was on the set last week, and all these ladies just flocked to the front to cheer him on. I'm telling you, it was a full house there for Michael.
It was flattering. It was flattering.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Wow.
And I'm learning that Michael comes from a family of athletes. His cousin is Troy Ross, who was a boxer, two-time Olympian. And help me out, Michael, if I get this correctly, but I think it's your uncle. I think he was an Olympian too. Can you tell us about him?
Yeah, so my uncle on my father's side is Egerton Marcus, and he's a silver medalist for Canada at the '88 Olympics in Seoul, Korea. Actually, he's good friends with Lennox Lewis, because Lennox Lewis in that year was the gold medalist in '88 for Seoul, Korea. I think Lennox lives in Miami now and married a model, because that's what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, that's the rite of passage.
So yeah, that's definitely my father's side of the family. And then my cousin Troy, his father was actually an Olympian as well. So I have three on that side of the family, which is it's a lot to live up to, especially as I didn't go to the Olympics. So.
There's still time.
Yeah.
And you've got
a spirit in me, though.
You still got the entertainer spirit. Okay.
Yeah, you still in the building now, no doubt.
Yeah.
Word.
Michael, let's talk about your beginnings. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in a place called Jane and Finch in Toronto. It's not the most socially advantageous or economically advantageous place to grow up in the city. It's one of the poorest sections of the city, one of the more violent sections of the city. So that's where I grew up in Toronto. It's on the northwest side of Toronto.
Oh, okay. Big shouts out to Jane and Finch, by the way.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And what did you experience growing up there? What were some of the lessons you learned based on your environment?
Yeah, so I mean, in an area like that, you pretty much experience everything under the sun, from shootings to beatings to domestic violence to drug dealing to harassment from the police. I mean, I went to school down in Indiana, and I have good buddies that used to live out in East Chicago and Gary, and you know what I mean? So, it's funny going down there and experiencing what they experienced down there, but being from Canada, because no one really thinks there's places like that in Canada, let alone, in the city of Toronto, because of the way it's portrayed in the media. Right. So you see a lot, but you grow from that experience, and you learn to be a survivor.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I sure do. And when you were in school, were you a good student? What were some of the things that you got out of your education?
Yeah, it depends on what stage of life you're talking about. Elementary school, I was terrible. I did a lot of, not good things in elementary school. I was always in trouble in the principal's office in elementary school. But I wasn't not like a smart kid. I was just misbehaving all the time. I was disruptive in class. But I was never a bad student. If I actually sat down and did my work, I did pretty good. So I would say I was a B and C student.
Yeah.
I shaped up a little bit in high school because I wanted to run track and field, and I had went to this all-guys high school. In 8th grade, it was girls or football, and I chose football. The And I was like, man, I don't want to go to the school no more. I'm gonna drop out of this school and go somewhere close to the You know what I'm saying? But we had this thing called ninth grade track and field day, and I ended up winning everything. I won the 1, the 2, the 400, and my 4x1 and 4x14 won.
Oh man! Wow.
I ended up staying at the school, and as a funny aside, you know, I went through high school, 9th grade, and all the way through 12th grade with the current captain of the Calgary Flames, Mark Giordano. So it's just a lot of talented athletes and just talented people came out of that school system, Chaminade College in Toronto.
Right.
Did
you ever, Mike, when you was running track, man, did you ever mess with the hurdles? You ever do the hurdles?
No, I never did the hurdles, man. I was afraid to fall on my face.
Man, that was real. I ran track and I used to do them hurdles. I had to stop. I was like, Coach, I can't do this right here. I kept tripping over them things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The hurdles are terrible.
Yeah.
I did the 2 and the 400, and later on I got into the 800.
Yeah.
Which is so long, and I didn't like that at all. But
oh man.
I was okay at it.
How did you get into acting?
So it's a funny story. So I grew up in a single parent household again in Jane and Finch in Toronto, but my father's side of the family, they didn't reside around there. They lived in the suburban sections of the city. So anytime I would go visit my father, like on weekends and stuff like that, he would be on movie sets.
Yeah.
So in the U.S. they had a TV show called The A-Team with Mr. T.
That's right.
I love that stuff. Yeah. In Canada we had the same thing. I believe it was called TNT, and my father did the stunts for Mr. T on that TNT series. So I got used to being on sets like when I was real young, real young.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really knew that it was something I would want to pursue. But later on, it was just, it kept calling me. And then, my cousin Troy, he was in a movie called Resurrecting the Champ. He played the younger version of Samuel L. Jackson in that movie. So my family, we're pretty tied in. Like my uncle Everton Marcus, he was in Get Rich or Die Trying. I was in Against the Ropes. I was in Redemption with Jamie Foxx. So it was just something that just kept calling me. So it's now later on in life, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna actually really go hard at this and actually pursue it because it's something that I love to do.
Yeah, that's a great place to
and
get into the industry.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what inspired you to write the book On Both Sides of the Fence?
Yeah, so growing up in an area like Jane and Finch, you see a lot, like I had mentioned before. And, you lose a lot of friends. And what happens at that point is, you go to like a funeral or you go to a wake or a remembering service and, you hear the family talking about, oh, my son wouldn't do this and my son wouldn't do that. He's this and he's that. And you see it on the news all the time. And, I'm out there in the streets and I'm thinking to myself, well, you probably didn't know your son 100% like everybody else knew him because he was out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same with me. My mother probably thinks like, oh, this guy's a saint. Like, you know what I mean? But so I started chronicling why I was doing the things I was doing because I mentioned on the Nikki Clarke show last week that, at times when you're out there in the streets and you know you're doing all the wrong things and you feel helpless, you feel the walls closing in on you. Like, if you spend enough time in the streets, you know when things are getting closer and closer. Like a shooting will happen and your friend gets shot, but you didn't get shot. You were like, you missed it by like 5 minutes. Yeah. And there's only so much of that you can avoid before you get shot or you get shot and killed or you get arrested. Yeah. So I started chronicling everything that was happening to me and my mind state at the time of why I was doing the certain things I was doing or the helpless feelings of how I felt. And then I had mentioned that I think I had something like 70 to 90 pages of just raw information down. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm starting in the middle. So if I start in the middle, I got to give a beginning. Like, I don't even want to just leave it at this. And then once I had the beginning, it almost felt like I had a purpose again to actually really try. like in life, like really try and really live again. So I continued writing, and next thing you know, I was at 150 pages, and then, you know, next thing you know, it was around 200 pages, and I said to myself, you know what? For inner city people that come from Canada, inner city people that come from the U.S., I'm pretty sure they can relate to a story like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe this can help somebody understand why they think the way they do, and maybe explain to them some of the things that, some of the precursors that you see in the streets, so that you can avoid some of this stuff. So that's where the book stems from.
Yeah. Each one teach one, definitely.
Yeah.
And you're doing something very, very powerful and impactful in that the proceeds for the books are going back to a foundation.
Yeah, so they're actually going back to the Jane and Finch Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, wow.
Funny story. So today, I actually had one of those big novelty checks made. So that'll be interesting to go and present that to the Jane and Finch Boys and Girls Club. And I'm not sure exactly what I want to try to do with the funds this year in terms of a donation. It could be something like starting a library in the Jane and Finch Boys and Girls Clubs of informational books that I never got. You know, I just finished reading a book called, I think it was The Wealth Choice, and it's just it's by a black author, and I was just like, you know what? I wish we had these kinds of books on financial literacy and inspiration when I was coming up, because we just didn't know. You know, we just didn't know things, and there's no excuse anymore. I mean, there's the internet. There's just really no excuse for some of the actions that people are doing, because there's so much opportunity out there. So, so hopefully the money goes to a good use. But yeah, 100% of the proceeds generated off the book are going to the Jane and Finch Boys and Girls Club. Just one of the ways.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for doing that. That is. That's going to change so many lives. You have no idea a whole community that you've changed right there just by doing that.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Now tell us about this exciting new movie that you're involved in.
Yeah, so Unusual Circumstances is an independent movie by the indie director Kevin Moore. He has a company called DNA Cinema, and I went out and I auditioned, and we pretty much just hit it off, and he cast me as the lead role, and it was a pretty cool role when I was reading the script, because it's about this guy, Romeo, who just got out of an interracial relationship in one of the worst ways, and you know, he's steadily looking for love, but can't find it, and you know, the story follows along his journey of the search for love, which I think a lot of us out there are doing. So it should be.
Yes, we are.
That's a rocky road. How you know, and kind of going to the Jane and Finch situation again, has, you know, because I've you know, I lived there. I lived in Toronto for a bit. I've got quite a few friends from Jane and Finch. I won't tell how old I am, but they are from. Yeah, I won't let the whole world know. But you know, and so they grew up, you know, back in a time where Jane and Finch was like really rough. You know what I'm saying? And as you were just speaking about. Now, I know it's still probably rough out there, because we know how it is in some of the PJs and places like that. It never really gets better until, like you say, some sort of economical change happens, you know, just the living circumstances. Has it gotten any better at all? Has there been any type of significant change from, let's say, 15 years ago to now?
I would say yes. Okay. You know, all things considered, you know, very sad. 5 people were shot last week.
What?
You know, which is terrible.
Oh, man.
In terms of a whole scale, up to 15, 20 years ago, like when I was a kid, you know, 9th grade, 10th grade, it has gotten better. Okay. You know, they started to put buses that run through the actual area now. There's a lot more community programs. The area gets a lot more attention now, whereas back in the day, it was terrible. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It was terrible. It was like so much drugs going on, so many shootings going on, hand-to-hand transactions. Like I talk about in my book, having to walk over blood-stained snow going to school in elementary school, or some days they would tape off the whole area and they wouldn't even let you go to school, you know, because of shootings that happened in the area. But I think nowadays, because of, you know, God bless the person who made YouTube and, you know, the internet and, you know, Real Star Hip Hop, things like that.
Right.
Or realworldhiphop.com, that website, because I think a lot of the younger generation realizes that you don't have to spend a ton of money and go to like a professional studio. You could have one in the basement and put out your content and share it with the world and really get put on. Like you can put yourself on without having to say to yourself, you know what, I'm a hustle, I'm a trap, and you know, use that money and go to like a big time studio. Nah, you can have a regular job at Foot Locker in Yorkdale Mall and take your money and, you know, buy your little equipment and, you know, put out quality music.
Yeah. So, more opportunities.
You know, that's the story of Chief Keef in the Shy. That's their story.
Yeah, definitely. A lot going on. And, you know, as Nikki was saying, again, you know, it's you know, we commend you definitely for what you're doing. Look, it's always a huge maneuver when you can give back to communities like that need so much, because a lot of the people out there, you're right, opportunity is what's necessary for them. You know, I know I had a friend, and I just wanted to take time to give him a shout out. I had a friend of mine who he didn't live in Jane and Finch anymore, but he's from there. A friend of mine, DRK, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And he was shot. As a matter of fact, he was shot out there. And the thing about it was, it wasn't even meant for him. You know what I mean? And so those are just, you know, thank God he's fine and everything like that. But, you know, just to kind of pinpoint, you know what I mean? Like these instances that happen to people, these are people that are close to us, you know, not just myself. Yeah. Everybody out there that this happens to, there are people who love them and care about them and that they're really close to. And so what you're doing is amazing, man. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, keep up the great work. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. And anything we can do to help, you know, support your movement, like I am behind you. You know, anything to.
I'm just hoping to get the attention of the city and get the attention of, you know, more casting directors and things like that. And with respect to the book, you know, my dream is to have it like with my old high school. It's implemented as an English, like a part of the English course right now.
That is huge. Congratulations.
Yeah, like thank you very much.
Like, I mean, can I just say something? You're in your early 30s, and I mean, wow, look what you've accomplished. Really, it's huge. You ever look at yourself and just say, "I have come so far," and you are an example for so many young men who could do the same.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. I never really step back and take a look at it. I mean, I have so many people that they're kind of counting on me. I have the weight of, it feels like the weight of the entire area is on my back, because it just, I'm one of the original guys who grew up in the neighborhood, the Driftwood Court neighborhood of Jane and Finch. So my mother moved there, my father moved there, and I think that was in 1981. So during that entire stretch of when it was the most violent and the most crazy, like, I was there. You know, I was that 8-year-old kid, you know, awestruck that, you know, things were happening. So, you know, I know a lot of guys who are my age now who are coming out after doing 15 years.
Man,
you know, who are like, man, Mike, man, you're doing your thing. I see you doing the acting thing online. Like, yo, we got to keep pushing. And I draw on inspiration like Samuel L. Jackson. I was telling somebody the other day, you know, Samuel L. Jackson, if you do the math, he never really got put on until he was 42 years old.
That's right.
Pulp Fiction with Quentin Tarantino.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm 10 years his junior right now. I'm just going to push it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what's up. That's what's up.
But what's happening, Michael, is that your dream is their dream, and they're living vicariously through you. So I understand how you're carrying the torch, and you may feel the pressure, but God only gives to people what they can handle.
Exactly.
And you're chosen. So you have, yes, a responsibility, but you have a great reward coming to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope I can use that that power, quote unquote, in the utmost responsible way, and stay humble and make sure things change in my community with the accolades that go along with, getting bigger in that industry. That's the biggest dream for me. Like, I wish they would give me $20 million like Denzel for a film.
Yeah.
I would contact the housing authorities and change them all. Like, I would get the landscaping redone, because it's little things visually in the traps. Whether you're in Detroit, whether you're in East Chicago or Gary, whether you're in Bankhead, and you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. If you walk outside your house every day and all you see is trash on the floor and the windows are barred and spray paint everywhere, you're gonna say to yourself, you know what? I don't really care, because they don't really care. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when it comes to things like that. So, it starts with people who are from the area giving back. And Julie Black, she was my program coordinator at the Driftwood Community Center. She's done wonderful things and has gone back to the south side of Jane and Finch and helped out with their Boys and Girls Club, things like that. So I really commend and respect her. I follow her on Instagram. I like every one of her pics, man. I love what she's doing in the city right now, man. I have the utmost respect for her. I know her from back in the day, so.
Right. Now,
well, I don't know if I told you, but I've done some mentorship at Westview Collegiate High School.
Okay.
Working with the young ladies there and giving them some empowerment classes and that. So that is my heart, and I think this was told to me very candidly a couple of weeks ago on the eve of receiving an award. I got the Woman of Honor, and this really resonated for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. What was told was I received this because I've been through my fair share of challenges as a single mom and that. But when you have the talent that God gives you and you use it and you merit from it, I think it is a responsibility to give back, and that's what I've been consistently trying to do. And that's why she said that's why you get what you get, because you always look back and help.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing for you, Michael. You didn't just get up and leave and turn your back on anybody. You still contribute, and I think that's what sets you apart from other people in the community. So, like I said, you have my full support because I understand what you're doing.
Yeah, that says a lot. That says a lot right there. That's a stand-up guy, at the end of the day.
I never wanted to be that guy to go off and do well, and he just disappeared. Mm-hmm. Like I can't. And they understand that about me. Like, my boys who are still out there, they understand that about me, and I think they have that respect. They know I can't come stand on the block.
Right, right.
Like, I can't do that for you guys anymore. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. But I can be the guy who comes back and talks to the younger generation and, hit me up on a one-way. They have my number. They have my direct contact through Instagram and Twitter. So they hit me up and they tell me they're proud of me, and that keeps me going. And a lot of the people who passed on, who supported me, I do it for them too. Like, just to say one of us really from the bottom really did make it. Like, really did make it.
Yeah.
So
I have to tell you this, Michael, that Keith, just to give you a visual of the book, because Keith unfortunately doesn't have a copy right now to look at, but there's a picture of Michael's picture that I think he got his driver's license, the first driver's license he had, and on the inside cover there are pictures of his angels, all the friends and family members that passed on, and it's just so beautifully done. So when you get your copy, you're going to be just as moved as I was when I saw it. But Michael, I need another copy because Diana Henry, who was one of the guests, her mother, she had such a big crush on you, and she said, well, I want a copy of Michael's book. And I said, well, I can't, I don't have another copy. And she had her face so made up. At the end of the show, I gave her my copy. I'll get another one. That's for you. And she was so happy.
No, I'll send y'all one. You just let me know. You just fire me off an email and you let me know what you need. I got you.
Right now. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, quick question. Being a writer and also being in the acting field, if you could have that chance one day to just put together, maybe write a screenplay or just write something, about, Jane and Finch and where you come from and things like that, to just do a film, even giving some of the people there, some of the youth chance to even act in it. Would you do that? Would you like to do that?
So it's funny because one of my young cats hit me up the other day on Instagram, because when you follow somebody back on Instagram, they can send you direct messages.
Right.
And he hit me up and he was just like, man, I can't believe you're from the courts. We call it Driftwood Court, the courts. He's like, man, I can't believe you're from the courts and you're doing it like that. He's like, are you going to do a movie one day? Like, are you going to make a movie? And you know what? I would love to just get the funding to come back and direct a film. It has to be under the right circumstances,
right?
Almost like the book. So when you get the book, it's very raw, it's very visceral. The front cover is no more important than the back cover, is no more important than the inside flaps, is no more important than the content. It took me 7 years to get it what I believe to be perfect, because it's going to endure long after I'm gone. Yeah. So the movie has to be done in the same way. I don't want to just run around with, $2,000 to $5,000 cameras and slap something together just to say I did it.
Right.
Like, it has to be done. I'm pretty type A, perfectionist type of dude too, so you can't tell. Yeah. So it has to be done very meticulously and very well. But for sure, I'm using the people from the neighborhood as long as they give me clearance. And I told some of the OGs around there too. I said, listen, if y'all, just like with the book, because I have to get clearance for the book. I said, if y'all give me clearance for the movie, one day I'm coming back and it's gonna be ridiculous. Yeah. So
that would be awesome.
If you need help with that, I'm there to help you, because I'm all about setting up media arts programs for kids. So if they learn how to write a script and how to direct, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely help you with that.
I think it's necessary to have a movie like that done because, on the West Coast of the U.S., they have their Boys in the Hood. On the East Coast, they have movies like Juice and New Jersey Drive.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? But on the North side in Canada, it's like, what do we really have that got put out that's authentic, like 110% authentic, based on a story, based on several people's stories altered, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So something like that it's coming. It's definitely something that's going to happen in the future for sure.
That's what's up. That's
fantastic. Would you consider doing a writing lab for them as well? I mean, the writing is such an incredible way to express and heal. Would you encourage them to share their stories in paper and guide them through that as well?
So at this time, I don't know if I have the sheer time to facilitate something like that, but I'm always encouraging in terms of having, people write down their story and share it with the world. It's a very cathartic process to just write down your life on paper and look at it back. And it's nerve-wracking, too, when you start to send that manuscript out to people and you're just like,
sure, you're vulnerable.
People like me. Still like me if you read about some of the other parts of me that you didn't know previously. You know what I mean? But you grow as a result of it, and I think the best thing that has come out of it for me is people come up to me and they're very open about everything because they feel like they know me already. And I want them to have that. I want them to be able to say, what I went through this, that, and the third, because there's not much you can say to me that I can't relate to. There's probably not much. So,
right.
That's excellent.
Now, where can people go to find the availability of the book?
Pardon me?
Where can everyone go to find the book?
Yeah, Yeah, so you could go to michaelaamus.com and you could buy the book through there. Again, all the proceeds go to the Jane Finch Boys and Girls Club, located here in Toronto, Canada. You can get the book on ebook on every platform imaginable. So if you have an Apple phone, if you have an Android phone, whatever you have, if you want to use iTunes or whatever it is, just type Both Sides of the Fence Surviving the Trap in, and it will come up.
Okay.
And they can hit me up on my website, michaelaamus.com, or on Instagram at michaelaamus1.
Okay. And I just wanted to go ahead and get that out there right quick right now for all the listeners, everybody out there, who may be listening in and want to go ahead and type in right now and look where you can go get that book from. Definitely, definitely people in the Canadian area, in Toronto and everything like that. Get the book because I also feel like there's some heritage in this book, right, Michael? I mean, just for the fact of you being from there. And listen, your story speaks for so many others that are from there, so there is some heritage and some history in it. So
I want it to be a part of the fabric of Toronto. I don't want just half truths about Toronto. Just the nice part about Toronto, the Royal York areas and the Bridle Path areas. Like if you're gonna tell the story about a country, tell the whole story, man.
Yeah.
Tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Tell everybody a story, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and let it ride. Another one of my hopes is that the correctional youth facilities take this.
Yeah.
Like the youth jails take it, and it gets adopted by the Canadian government because that's some serious money that comes in.
Yeah.
if they buy like a couple hundred books, that's a couple $1,000 that gets donated right back into the Jane and Finch community. So that's my thought process long term for the book. The high schools and adopted by the youth jail.
And you know what else? You know what else too? In the correctional facilities, can you just imagine? I'm sure you guys can, but you can just imagine right now how many people, people locked away that will find that to be a great read. Just reading about, just reading about home itself, and I mean, I got to be honest. I say this from the experience of just, somebody who spent, a bit of time in those situations. Like, you want to read, listen, people behind those bars want to read something that they can relate to. Now, you obviously want it to be something that's positive motivating, something that gives them a reason to want to turn their lives around when they get out. But they definitely want to read something that they can relate to. There's a lot of different knowledges that you get reading books while incarcerated. But that special feeling of reading something close to home, hearing somebody's story that comes from where you come from, watching people like Michael who've made those turnarounds, I mean, that's immense. So the money's amazing, but then just what it does to help the people just really equals that out.
And it's funny you say that about reading books like that because when I stayed out in Indiana, a guy from Chicago. They call him DC. He had given me a book called Monster by Cody Scott. And I was reading through this book and I was like, I've been through this too. I've been through this too. And by that time, like I had 3/4 of just words down about the book, like 3/4 of what is now the book. And then, that's when another part of me said to myself, I can turn this into a book. Because his story, I'm not saying anything crazy like I killed anybody, but anybody who's from the street life, when you read a book like Monster by Cody Scott, when you read a book like this, there's no way you can't relate to what we're saying in these books.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which trap or project or hood you come from across North America, you're gonna relate to that street life because it's authentic and it doesn't change anywhere you go.
Right.
So,
It definitely gets them over that hump. In a lot of ways, you could say, listen, some people can read that book and save themselves from having to go out and try to live it.
I'm hoping so. I went to my high school's 50th reunion the other day, and I was about to be seated, and I had told them my name. I was like, yeah, I'm Michael Amos. I'm on the chart. They're like, wait a minute, you're Michael Amos? You know, so, and that's cool because they're like, we're reading your book in class and let's get a picture and, you know, some of the stuff that you were saying in there, I never experienced before, but I started to see what you were talking about. Like, it didn't happen, but I knew it could happen based on what I was doing. And I was like, man, I live for that moment. You didn't have to go through it. You read what was going to happen. You kept doing what you were doing, so you stopped doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, those are the moments that you live for when people pick up the book or talk about the book. Yeah, that's what's up.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'm just speechless for like a second. I don't even know if you understand the magnitude of what is happening right now, and just like the people's lives that you're changing is unbelievable. And you are creating such a legacy that I just think it's just a powerful thing. That's the only thing I could say. It's just powerful.
Yeah, because
every night I pray to God, and I just hope I'm doing the right things. I'm making the right moves, and you know, I spend so much time in Jane and Finch. You know, I was born and raised there, and I always say to myself, it's not me, then who? Right. You know, it's not me, then who? Who's gonna write a book about it? Mm-hmm. You know, who has both sides of the fence in terms of credentials to do it? You know, I got a pharmaceutical accreditation. I got a degree in biology, but I'm also from one of the worst sections in Canada, let alone Toronto. So, you know, who could sit there with a group of educated people and talk to them about the streets with being credible you know, and being, you know, dressed business casual so that they don't feel uncomfortable? Because you could have street guys, you know, sit there on a panel and talk about some of this stuff, but you know, no one's going to take them seriously if you don't have the education, and that's just one of those systems that is the world, right? That is the world we live in. It's just it's a filtering system. So, you know, when I came out with the book, you know, the streets were so supportive of it, and they're just like, tell them what happened to us. Yeah. Tell them what happened to us. Tell them why we were the way they were.
They trust you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They trust your side of the story. So that speaks volumes of your character.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know, and sorry, one more thing to touch on. You know, videos for that matter too. I know during my time there, you know, again, as you say, Toronto, and it's a beautiful city, great economically and everything else, and we like that. But what I used to see when I was there is people from places like Jane and Finch or Regent Park at the time that it was still up. I know they tore it down, but you know, different places like that. I used to watch guys and certain guys that I know, and they would always make their videos from these places. And what they would be trying to explain in their videos is that, listen, this is what's going on where we're at. You know, everybody, you know, everybody comes for, you know, visitation. You know, they come, you know, see Yonge Street. They, you know, see the CN Tower. They see all these different things that are beautiful about the city, but they didn't see what was going on behind those gates. So a lot of times the guys would shoot their rap videos and they be, you know, in the hood and they would be explaining what's happening. And so, again, I think what you're doing is great because it brings that out in a different level. Because, listen, a lot of times, and you know this, Michael, a lot of times for these guys to shoot these videos and to just to explain their stories, a lot of times we're incriminating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're getting locked up for showing the truth.
Right.
Right. They're getting locked up for showing the truth.
Right.
They're saying they're conspiracy, a criminal organization, and it's like, what do you mean it's a criminal organization? You're living in project housing. We live 500 meters from everyone.
Yep.
And then you're gonna put somebody. I remember I had two friends, and they said that, and they were co-accused. The co-accused cannot be within 500 yards of each other.
Right.
They live next door to each other. They're less than a foot away from each other through this thin-ass drywall. Excuse my language, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, so how are you telling us not to hang out with the people that we grew up with?
Yep.
Because of their neighborhood, you're deeming it as a gang, and if it was a suburban neighborhood, they would be friends. It's like what's going on in Baltimore. It's not a curfew everywhere in Baltimore.
Right.
It's a curfew in black neighborhoods in
Yep.
You know, and via social media, you know, you got kids in more suburban sections that are tweeting pictures like, ain't no curfew over here.
Right.
Ain't no national guard over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I love about 2015 in the future. It's like technology doesn't lie. Like, you know, having cameras in your hand and the ability to share things with the world, it doesn't lie. You know, it's the truth. So
yeah.
That's what's up.
Well, look, listen, everybody out there, once again, you know, make sure you go check Michael out at the website, Amos.com, right, Mike?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, make sure you check them out and all the social media sites as well. Listen, you know, as Nikki was saying, we could go on. Look, now let's jump back into the movie side of things for a minute, okay?
Okay.
When can so you guys are getting ready to start filming Unusual Circumstances soon, or are you already in?
No, so it's already filmed.
Oh, okay.
And because I'm an indie actor, mostly what happens is it gets aired to film circuits in and around North America. Like I did a film recently. I want to say it was a year ago, and it got screened at the North Hollywood Sin Fest. So that's the cool thing about being an indie actor. Your movies they travel. Like, I love it. They travel. Another one, Soulless, that I did, it aired at the Waterford Film Festival in Ireland, which is cool. But Unusual Circumstances, the new one that I star in, that's being scored right now, so they're doing the music and stuff to it right now.
Okay.
And then, you know, it starts getting distributed to film festivals, and if people go to that website, michaelamos.com, they can see where I'm at, man. They can see, like, the events that I'm at in and around the city of Toronto, and, you know.
Hey, you know I done already hit your IMDb page up already.
Okay.
I done been on there, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like you were saying, film festivals and stuff like that, because Toronto has some amazing film festivals. And it's congratulations to getting over here. Your some of your films you've been in, getting to the American circuits too. But how do you like going to the film festivals, man? Look, because Toronto film festivals are off the chain. You've been to.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, I love film festivals because the people are actually there.
Yeah.
Like, the people who you see in the films are actually there. And granted, things like the Sundance Film Festival or TIFF, it's a little harder to gain access to, you know, a big-name director like Anton Fuqua or Denzel Washington. But when you have some of the smaller indie actors who are coming up, you can meet these people. Like, I love the story of Michael B. Jordan. Like, he got put on, basically, by, what's that movie? Fruit Valley Station. Okay. That was a film festival movie.
Right.
And it took off. You know, and next thing you know, he's a presenter at the Oscars. And I'm saying to myself, oh, congratulations, brother. Congratulations.
That's how it happened.
You know, director Jamal Hill right now, he has a movie, I want to say it's with Lorenz Tate coming out, called Brotherly Love. And, you know, that's in theaters as well.
Yeah. My man, Umpo, you know, y'all got Umpo up there. I call him Poe. But my homeboy Umpo up there, you know, he's in, what's that film, Black and White?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, he plays a role. Listen, Toronto's off the chain, man, you know, doing this thing. You're in a great position. Now, let me ask you this, and I ask all actors and actresses this question. What is your favorite role that you want to play? If you could write yourself into a film, you want to be the bad guy, the psycho guy, who do you want to be? You thinking about that one? Mike.
Can I tell you again what I want to be?
Hey, look. Yeah, yours was pretty exciting. Go ahead.
No, I'm just giving Michael some time to think about it.
I know. Is it Mike? You there, man? Mike, like, hey, look. I guess he went into character right fast. He's thinking Invisible Man. Look. Anyway, listen. We not sure if we still got Mike. He'll jump back in a second if we still got him online. But look, everybody out there, make sure you go check out Michael A. Amos. And what's the book again? Nikki, you tell everybody the name of the book and where they can, and I'll tell them where they can go check it out.
Sure. book is called Both Sides of the Fence, written by Michael A. Amos, and it's a fantastic read of his challenges growing up in the Jane and Finch area, and this incredible triumph he's had as a young man, finding his way and finding it very well and giving back to the community. So you've got to read this book. Absolutely.
And make sure you go check out his website, michaelamos.com. As he said before, you can also find his book, Both Sides of the Fence, on ebook as well. And I believe he said Amazon, but we're not sure. What I'll do is... Yeah, okay, and Amazon also. And check out the movies. You know what I'm saying? He's been in... Listen... Unusual Circumstances he spoke of should be coming out soon. Also, there's Soulless, which he's also in, and Bear Cop. We didn't get a chance to mention that, but he's also in a film called Bear Cop. So go check out his IMDb page. You guys hear us say that all the time. Just check out all of the wonderful works that he's doing in the film industry and the way he's giving back to the community, which is a really big deal. So kudos and congratulations to that. And we want to remind everybody also, in case you tuned in late today, which you should have been here from the beginning, but, you know, in case you tuned in late, you can catch the complete conversation, Throwback Thursdays, with Nikki, Clarke, myself, and Michael A. Amos, posted on social media sites and networks. So that's what time it is. And like we say, Michael went into character. He had to get back to Invisible Man or whatever it is. We asked that question. So you know, but big shouts out to him as well. And that's what time it is. And Nikki, anything to say before we go into some more good old throwback?
Yeah, we're talking about incredible things in Toronto in terms of the film festivals. We had the Hot Docs Festival, that was last week, of amazing documentaries. And then next week, May 12th, 13th, is the Black International Film. That's going to be kicking off at the Ryerson University campus, and that is co-sponsored with the Ontario Black History Society and also the consulate, the South African consulate. So if you want more information, the tickets are absolutely free. I can tell you where to go to watch some great movies, and they are written by Black authors, Black directors, and I think you're really going to enjoy them. So you can contact me on NikkiClarkNetwork.com. You can go to my website, and all my contacts are there, and I can tell you how to get information about the Black International Film Festival, which is next week, May 12th and 13th.
Hey, that's what's up. Hey, look, I wanted to say, I know people probably hear some of our lines blowing up right now. I'm getting quite a few calls from Cali right now, out in the West Coast, somewhere in the film industry. Maybe some people heard Michael on the phone and.
All right, you go ahead, Michael.
Try to get
it. 20%, whatever you make, I get 20%. No, I'm just joking.
So that's what's up. Yeah, all right, so that's a big look. Them film festivals, look, oh man, I can't wait to get up there and hit some of them film festivals again, the Real World and all them different ones. That's a big deal. Lots of fun with those. You enjoy going to those? We got to take, because you and I got to hit the backdrop again and take some more photos too, Nikki.
For sure. You got to come down and we got to do some more, those pictures and blow them up all over Facebook.
I know, right? Go ahead, exactly. Make people like, wait a minute, look, da-da-da. And I got a different look on that one. I think I got a little bit of more mustache and stuff like that now too. So that's a little. All
right, that's very masculine. I like that.
You crazy? Very masculine. All right, all right. So that's what time it is. We'll go back into. We'll jump back on with the throwback right now. We'll do that.
Oh yeah, you're listening to Throwback Thursday only on WeAreHotline.net.
That's right. Don't touch that down.